Hello, Leili. How are you doing?
Hello, Afshin. Thank you. I am doing well.
Thank you very much for taking the time to join me in this episode. What
Pleasure
time is
is
it
all
in
mine.
Belgium right now? It's evening time, right?
It's 6:70 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so why not just start by introducing yourself? Tell us about your PhD program, where you got your PhD. I see that you have like two PhDs in two different fields,
Yes,
chemistry and engineering. Please tell us about that, and then I'll be asking some other questions.
yes. My name is Lily. My name is Leili, but everybody calls me Lily because it's catchy. And I now
Mhm.
I work as a scientific and technical staff at University of Antwerp in Belgium. I have a dual PhD in chemistry and applied engineering, and during my PhD, I focused on design and synthesis of functional materials, especially MOFs and their advanced analytical characterization. I started my PhD in Tibet Modernist University in Tehran and then moved to Belgium to continue my PhD as a applied engineer. And then after my PhD, I received a research grant and continue as a postdoctoral researcher. And that gave me more chance to deepen my work as a independent researcher, collaborate with different research group, and also gain experience in mentoring students. And also in my current role, I work more on support side of science. I help both researcher and industry partner with analytical testing, their problems, laboratory management, troubleshooting instruments, and training, also including supervising lab sessions for students.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. So you work with like different stakeholders as you mentioned, so with academic people and non-academic people. So can
Yes.
you share us your experiences working with maybe non-technical people in your current role?
For non-technical people,
The
sometimes
industry
with
people.
the industry people, sometimes we receive some problems or some set of samples from them to analyze and try to solve problem for them. We try to a little bit study the background of that issue because sometimes it can be really different from what, for example, we are doing. Not really completely different, but sometimes a little bit different. And then try to um, manage the problem from 0 to 10 by simply starting with a simple experiment and trying to find solution. And then the also main part is explaining them the solutions we find because sometimes it's also really important. Sometimes you need to break down this issue and try to engage with them and try to explain to them how you solve this problem. Or sometimes in the middle of problem solving, you need their experience too because of course they are working in this area for a long time and you might need their experience too. So it's mostly sometimes collaboration, your own experience, and also your collaboration with your colleagues.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. So you have worked on like metal organic frameworks, MOFs,
Yes.
and things like that. Can you explain more about your research and things, the projects that you've done in the past, and especially their industry applications?
Yes, I worked on MOF or metal organic frameworks. This year also they got a Nobel Prize.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah,
Oh,
this
interesting.
field, yeah, this field involves inorganic and organic chemistry together, and also characterization method, and also application, lots and lots of application. So I started as a inorganic chemist back then, but I find myself into organic chemistry world because as the name suggests, they are inorganic organic frameworks. So you need to synthesize organic frameworks, organic part, inorganic part. So you should be both inorganic chemist and organic chemist, and also because these are crystalline material, you needed to find a way to characterize them. That part was also something that fascinated me with the applied engineering side because um, I was interested in that side for characterization. I came to Belgium because my supervisor here was specialized in X-ray crystallography, and I learned a lot from him. And then through that, you learn X-rays, you learn other chromatographic and spectroscopic methods. So I can suggest this part is also analytical chemistry based and also lots of applications, sometimes like gas storage, sensing, heavy metal removal, or catalysis. But for me, I worked mostly on catalysis and sensing and heavy metal removal part as application for my material. But I learned a lot because it's a multidisciplinary area and you needed to learn a lot from each area of chemistry to advance yourself.
Thank you. So I've seen that these MOFs have applications, for example, in carbon capture, like
Yes,
carbon
yes, they
dioxide,
have.
because there's some Canadian companies here, so they develop MOFs for those applications as well.
Yes. There are a lot of companies nowadays for CO2 capture actually now using them. But application side, I don't know for future how it's gonna go in future because they are a little bit expensive to synthesize. So I don't know how affordable it is. There are some of them that are affordable to make, but yeah, it depends on the production expenses versus the um, activity of the material. So you need to always consider that. But now that all these companies are growing, I think maybe they are really beneficial and they are cost effective. They find cost effective material.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I'm just curious how you did like two PhDs because one is too much.
Yes. One is too much, but I always fascinated by the connection between fundamental science and real life application. I didn't want to just understand the chemistry, just like understand it at just molecular level. I always wanted to know how this knowledge could be used to develop solutions that people can actually use. So chemistry part, let's say, helped me to understand underlying principle, how material work, how reaction work, and then that engineering part helped me to thought more um, about a practical idea, putting this idea in practical and scalable solution, let's say. And I think maybe most of these fascinating and exciting innovation and discovery happens when um, you intercept different boundaries together, different disciplines together, maybe.
No, that's awesome. So you understand both the science part and the engineering, the applied part. Uh,
Yes,
that's
I
that's
hope
that's an
so.
advantage. That's an advantage actually, because
Yeah,
most people are know about one of the disciplines, either science or engineering, but you can combine both and like you mentioned, understanding the principles, the concepts behind, and
yes,
then applying them to real life applications, basically. So that's a massive advantage.
yes.
So
Especially in my current group, when we are working with the industrial partner, um, before that, I had this in my mind that all the time when you want to move from pure science to industry, the cost is always really important. But
mhm.
now it's more tangible for me because I know, like even um, hours or human cost, apart from material, you have lots of costs that you need to consider, and they are a really important part of the work. You cannot really think that you made something fascinating because it shows some advantages of properties. You need to always think about the other part all the time.
Mhm. That's wonderful. Currently, you are a scientific technical staff, basically.
Yes.
And you have done some postdoctoral work before. So, how has your previous postdoctoral experience and current role as, like I said, scientific technical staff shaped the way you think about research and career direction? because we do some research as in our PhD programs and the postdoc, and then we want to
Mhm.
transfer those skills to something bigger, right?
Yes.
Could be in academia, like in the form that you are currently working, teaching other researchers, maybe providing support, or when you transition into non-academic roles in industry, you can transfer those skills. How have your previous programs, your experiences helped you in your current role? And the next question, like I said, would be to how would you like to transfer your skills to industry if you are pursuing that route?
Yeah, during my postdoctoral years, I was focused on advancing scientific knowledge and
Mhm.
answering research questions. As I said, I applied for a grant myself. I wrote a proposal. So when I got the grant, it was like a little bit independent research work that I did. In my current role, I've discovered another dimension of science, one that involves supporting people, maintaining the tools and infrastructures, um, tools that researcher depends on, troubleshooting challenges, training other users, and helping also companies and other researchers to solve their problem. This shift has expanded the way I think about both research and career development. I realized that there is no single definition of success in science. Publishing important work is valuable, but so is solving real life problem and translating expertise into practical solutions. Both can have valuable and meaningful impact.
Mhm. Awesome, thank you. So let's go back to your collaboration with industry people. So I used to be a director of R&D in a company, and the way we did research, for example, prototyping, and there was a lot of
Mhm.
chemistry involved as well. We sent samples for XRD and some other like electron microscopy characterizations. Do these people bring you samples and you guys characterize them and charge them a fee for those services, or
Uh,
there's some like more deeper level of collaboration in terms of product development or working closely with industry to develop a product, for example. Uh,
Uh, for developing product, for now we don't. We have some ideas to like approach this company to say we have this idea. If you are interested to collaborate with us
mhm,
to like make some meaningful contribution in future, but for now, it wasn't that much like successful to move to startup yet. We have some branches from our group that people started a startup. Yes, they started like that, approaching some people, companies, and
mhm,
uh, but it's mostly based on the collaboration. And sometimes this collaboration is, as you said, charging. Sometimes no, it's a mutual collaboration.
mhm,
We do something for them, and they do something for us. But this is really ongoing in people in my group, and actually this is also something that is really different here than my previous university, that people here mostly think about how we can start up our own company, to start think what we are doing now, if that can have impact in future, if we can make something out of that in future.
mhm,
So yeah, it opens up your eyes, and it's interesting, definitely.
mhm.
And I am
So have
learning
you,
actually.
no, that's great. Have you ever participated in preparing IP, intellectual property, in form of like trade secrets, patents, or know-hows?
Yes, yes,
Okay, so
I have one.
okay, can you share us your experiences? What kind of
Uh,
what level of collaboration did you have? So in the manuscript preparation, data analysis, things like that.
It was in the synthesis and also manuscript preparation part.
Okay.
So what we did, we developed a method for synthesizing our MOF linkers. These linkers are really hard to synthesize. As I said, that's why they are expensive. You need to go through a multi-step a chemical reaction, and in each step you lose material. Your yield is not all the time high, and even if your yield is high, each time, even if you have 80%, you lose 20% of that material.
Mhm,
And we started, we thought about a solution to cut couple of these steps and try to synthesize these long linkers without going through lots of different reaction.
Mhm.
So we developed the method and we made it as a patent at University of Antwerp.
Okay, so the patents belong to the university and
Yes.
not to the industry partners.
No, it's a university patent.
Okay,
Yes.
internal.
Yes, but if like industry is yeah, it works in a way that when other industry so university advertises these patents, or sometimes like industry approaches university for this patent. If a patent have use in industry, yes, that can like become big. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a university-based patent.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So, what do many PhDs underestimate about transferable skills they already have? For example, so I've had couple of conversations with other PhDs who are postdocs, for example,
Hmm.
or they're still working in academia. They are like grant writers, for example, proposal writers, and things like that. But for example, one particular conversation I had with someone like that was about project management. Because when we
Hmm.
talk about project management, the type of project management we have in academia may be different, and it is different from what we have in industry, for example. But doing PhD can, give you a good perception and, the tools that you can
Hmm.
later transfer to real world, basically the
Yeah.
industry and things like that. So what do you think? So many PhDs underestimate about their skills that they
Yes.
can transfer to industry later on.
Yeah, I think most of PhDs, including myself,
Mhm.
underestimate just how many transferable skill we have, and
Mhm.
I am learning it gradually. I think people often see themselves as an expert in only a very specific research topic, but the reality is quite different. During PhD, you learn how to analyze complex information and break big problems down into manageable part. You
Mhm.
manage long-term projects, troubleshoot when things don't work, and also you learn work independently, learn new skills quickly if needed, and consequently search for solution if you need one. You also develop the ability to communicate um, technical concept and sometimes make difficult decisions despite uncertainty and in incomplete information. Um, the challenge is usually not the lack of transferable skills, I think. It is recognizing that you already have all of them and you learn to um, describe
Translate,
it in a
translate
in
them. Yeah.
yeah, describe it and translate it in
Mhm.
a language that employers outside of academia can understand and actually value.
Mhm.
And I think that is a skill you need to learn, and actually I am learning myself.
No, that's awesome. Actually, I was kind of analyzing the survey results that I conducted, and many people participated, including yourself. So one of the
Yes.
things that I found out in the analysis was exactly to your point that, it's not that we don't have transferable skills, but we don't know how to translate our skills
Yes.
to industry people who may not have like a good understanding of how academic people think or work, right? That's exactly to your point. So thank you very much. And can you tell us before the we started the recording, you were telling me about this job market in Europe, especially in Belgium and things like that. So how does it work in there, like in Europe and especially in your country? So what are the typical routes for PhDs to find jobs, for example, or search for jobs, or do networking, for example? How does it work typically? So.
Um, Typically for PhD students, they would like to start as a R&D, I think for like other
Mhm.
people, or sometimes if they are really highly skilled, like they have years and years of experience in as a postdoc. They can start right away as a senior position, senior R&D, even managers in industry. It depends on their skill. So you have two route actually. You stay in academia or you move to industry. But sometimes like people want to gain experience in different group as a postdoc, and actually I think that is fascinating and valuable. Those people are, I think, easy. For them it's easy to find position in industry sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah, some people think, yeah, if you have a lot of experience as a postdoc or you have PhD, it's harder. Yes, I agree. Sometimes it is harder, but I saw a lot of people that gain experience in different area of a field by doing a couple of postdoc in different area, and they were really highly valuable for a company when they started. Sometimes they started as a directly as a senior R&D scientist in companies like Johnson and Johnson, mostly like pharma companies.
Mhm.
But yes, if you are doing PhD, you need to think a little bit through about what you want to do in future, how you need to complete other skills you need to have for these positions, like sometimes taking classes for good manufacturing practice, GMP, GLP, and other skills that may help you to find your future job easier, to add on your skill set.
Mhm. Okay, now that's awesome. So you're currently uh, pursuing, jobs in non-academic settings, basically in industry. So what are the routes that you are already taking? What has worked? What hasn't worked? What challenges have you faced in your job search or things like that? If you're comfortable sharing with us.
Yes,
So.
yes, sure. As I said, I am also learning like this kind of stuff that we
Mhm.
talked about, transferring and translating this skill we have already in industry really helped, because when I started sometimes going to interview from the beginning, I was thinking, even not go for do not go further. Let's say when you even start applying for a job, you
Mhm.
think, no, I couldn't apply for a job because they want this and that I don't have. And
Mhm.
actually they are from 10 skills. In the 10 skills, two of them maybe you don't have, but you always focus on those two. But you forget you did a PhD already. You learn how to quickly research and work on yourself to learn them so you can do it again. It's not that you don't know them. Yeah, you don't know them, but you can learn them easily. And that is, I think that is the part that you should learn from your PhD in navigating your way through industry. You need to not be afraid of applying for a job, let's say in first step. And then when you go to interviews, sometimes you feel insecure when they ask questions. You were thinking that, yeah, I work this specific topic, and I don't know how I can tell them this topic can be like you can expand it. It can be expand for the field you look for. So that is something that you needed to learn, and I think I am learning it now better after some rejections. You learn to a little bit expand and sell your skills and translate what you already know to the industrial settings.
Well, that's wonderful. So, what's your learning journey like? Like, where do you get your information, for example? Do you take like online courses, read books, or industry reports or things like that? What's the typical learning process for you?
What I did, I took some courses in my own like in what you need as a chemist graduate, like as I said, GMP, GLP, and also I I go to different events sometimes. Sometimes these events are related to a job fairs. Sometimes no, it's just related to science. And I try to talk with people, talk with industry, and a little bit talk with them with their point of view, and maybe how I can change myself to adapt better. So, and
Mhm.
also I think that is mostly maybe personal experience. You cannot really find a way to learn this in a day by listening to a podcast or reading a book. Yes, they are really important, but again, some part of it comes from experience, and that is sometimes it hard, but important.
Yeah, so we learn, right? So we make
Yes,
mistakes, we face rejections, but we should not let rejection define who we
of
are
course.
as a person, as a PhD. It's very important. We keep pushing, keep learning.
Yes.
That's life, right? So that's awesome. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that in this community that we have built for PhDs, so I always talk about this mindset shift that PhDs need to have, just think beyond R&D job. R&D jobs and R&D roles when they
Hmm.
leave academia. And the number of uh, PhD graduates exceeds the number of academic positions available as faculty members or things like that. So we have to think about different routes to keep our options open. It's not just R&D. It can be consulting. It can be working in government, for example. Or I know some people in my field, in theoretical physics. I'm an experimentalist, but in theoretical physics, who are working in banks, for example, in the sections of those financial institutions that the work involves, critical thinking, deep thinking, strategizing, and things like that. And they bring their knowledge from academia in totally different field, like let's say physics, right? But they bring those skills to a new setting. So it's not just R&D, right? Or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or entrepreneurship is another one. So for example, someone like yourself. So I'm pretty sure there are a lot of startups, maybe in your field or closely related fields that you can join as a co-founder, as a CTO, for example, let's say, or someone who understands, or a director of R&D, for example, things like that. So can you also tell us, this question is more for beneficial for PhD candidates, PhD students, people who haven't graduated yet and they don't know about those job titles. So can you tell us about the job titles that you consider when searching for a new role? It's like R&D director, maybe patent agent, it can be
But there are a lot of like
project manager.
quality assurance, quality
Mhm,
control,
mhm,
like even project management. I have a lot of a friend that graduated
mhm,
as a chemist with a PhD. They started as a project manager.
mhm,
Also, sometimes like I have friends, they are working in a data analysis department, but they don't know anything about data analysis, but they needed to have a chemist there.
mhm,
So for job, I think you can find lots and lots of title. As you said, a physics graduate can work in a bank. You can find lots of things that you can start working as a PhD. I think it starts with changing the narrative. It starts with changing the story instead of introducing yourself only by your research title or a highly specialized topic. Think about that what you do, what you usually do in every day. Do you solve problem? Do you solve complex problem? Do you manage a long-term project? Do you train or mentor others? Do you analyze data? Collaborate with others in a cross discipline? These are all valuable skills that exist far beyond academia. And I think networking is really important. It's incredibly important.
mhm,
Talk to people outside of academia, be curious about different career paths, and learn how different industry operates. The more conversation you have, the easier it becomes to recognize where your experience fits and how to communicate your value in maybe really different environment.
mhm. No, that's fantastic. So a part of the survey that I conducted asked this question if the participants had received any training from their institution where they graduated, their universities. Interestingly, over 60% of the participants they said that there were no career training program or they were not very effective if there was any, right?
Mhm.
So have you received or did you receive any career training program because you did like two PhDs or maybe in different research institutes or universities where you worked and you studied. Did you receive such training programs?
Yes, I had one training before program before for actually it was titled Moving from Academia to Industry, and but it
Mm-hmm.
was like voluntarily if you wanted to participate. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was something that university organizes each year that you can participate. I received this kind of training, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Were those trainings like very effective or too?
Yeah, I think it is effective because, for example, maybe maybe we can talk about this here. Maybe it is important, useful for some people. When I was in that training, we were talking about resumes. That
Mm-hmm.
something that everyone needs to
Mm-hmm.
like complete before applying for a job. And I was wondering how I can like write this resume in a way that it stands up, and he was telling me there is no right way to write a resume that stands up. It's better to know where you are applying and who the hiring manager is that is reading your resume. And yeah, some people were telling me don't put articles, number of articles or patent or this kind of stuff that you did. No one in industry is really like they don't care about this stuff. You need to talk about your skills, but he wasn't really agree with this narrative. He was telling no, 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 it's not complete, it's not correct, because sometimes yes, you are applying for a job in pharmaceutical company. For them it's really important to see your track record, your articles, your patents, because it's for them sometimes it's pure science, exactly like what you did in the university was slightly different. So for some of them are important, you need to indicate everything. But sometimes you are applying for a polymer company, something that for them some other skills is more important. Your hands-on experience in the lab is really important. Your critical thinking is important. So you need to know your the company you're applying, and based on that, you need to write. And there is no one can say to you the type of resume you're making is right or wrong. You need to gain experience yourself and see how you need to write it in a way that you stand up around others. So that was something that was, I think, it a good conversation we had, and maybe I wanted to put it here. Sometimes maybe you don't know someone can benefit from it.
That's right. No, thank you very much for sharing that. So, and finding referrals is important, right? So it's not just, as you mentioned, it's not just about writing a shiny resume or cover letter, but you need to also, with resume also, we need to pay attention to application tracking systems, ATS, because
Yes,
most
yes,
of these resumes are scanned by machine, right? Before, and no hiring manager, no human being sees those
of
resumes,
course,
right?
of
So we
course.
need to make sure.
Definitely, they do that because I have some friends that are now in a company in a position that they are hiring people. And actually, the other day, one of my friend was in my house and he was telling me, yes, you know what? Now as a hiring manager, I don't receive all the CVs. I just receive a paragraph from all the candidate, and I read that paragraph. If I am interested in that paragraph, I'm gonna go
Mhm.
and check the resume. If I'm not interested, I'm not gonna go. So, and he was telling me sometimes that trap, sometimes people like generate really short and one page CV because everybody suggests if you make longer one, or if you like talk a lot in your CV, no one gonna be interested. The hiring manager just gonna read. I heard that a lot. The hiring manager gonna read just one first paragraph of your CV, but
Mhm.
according to him, it's not really correct. the the software AI generates a paragraph based on what information you put it there.
Mhm.
And if he is interested on that paragraph, he's gonna come and check your CV.
Mhm. So the machine, the ATS summarizes the resume basically
Yes,
and provides a summary to the hiring manager. And if the hiring manager is interested, he or she will, dive deeper into the resume. Is that what you're
yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes. And
So,
also don't this doesn't mean just extend your CV. Just try
Mhm.
to really focus on what you think they need and try
Mhm.
to find those dimensions in your skills and talk about them. That is, I think, really important.
So how do you do your research prior to preparing your resume or CV for a company? So what information do you typically look for in a company?
Sometimes first I start with the company to see what they do, what they are specialized. I read
Mhm.
in their about page. Sometimes I do some Google search to see what they do, what kind of material they are producing, because that is also have direct effect on what kind of
Mhm.
people they are looking for. And sometimes in some cases, I approach people that I know are familiar with that company from like closely. That also really helps because you get more information about them. And also what I did do definitely I check some of the people's related to the company on their LinkedIn and sometimes their track record to see what kind of work they did, like what kind of study they did, what kind of work they did, and that also helps me a lot to understand now what they are doing in the company. So try to
Okay.
see if if my ability match that too.
Okay. So we're nearing the end of the conversation, and thank you very much for sharing your insights. But so when you are an interview for process, for example, with the hiring manager or the hiring team, so they at the end of the conversation, they ask you if you have any questions for them. So do you have a list of questions to ask them? And if if you do, so what are those typically? That's very
I
important part. The
Yeah,
end of the
I
interview
ask a
is
lot
very
of
important.
question actually.
Okay.
Definitely, I ask about the environment in the work because it is really important how many people I'm gonna work with, and is there a collaboration of between team members, and if there is, how what kind of collaboration? It's gonna be that these work gonna be done independently or it's a team effort? What kind of instrument they are using in their research, and it depends on actually on the job I am interviewing for. But yes, this kind of question can come up. But mostly for me, the type of job they are doing, because I really like this fascinating job that you learn a lot. Because for me, it's also important for my side to learn in the job. Definitely, I am there to work for them, but as a human being, mm, as a person that wants to progress in life, you want to also learn yourself. If they give you opportunity to join training courses, if they have training courses in their company, that's also really important. If you see a growth in the company for yourself, or no, it's gonna be a steady job environment. Some people like that, but for me, I also like to progress a lot, like to learn a lot in the process. So that is kind of information I mostly ask.
Mhm. Do you know what my favorite interview question is?
But
So I asked like, who would not be a good fit for this role? And typically it
hmm
shocks the hiring team because they don't expect such questions,
hmm
but
Yeah,
it can
that
help
can
you.
be
It's a very tricky
interesting.
question. Maybe next time you try that because sometimes,
Yeah,
who would not be a good fit, right? Because the job description tells you who would be a good fit for the role. But the hidden points in a job description or in the during the conversations, they
yeah,
don't tell you who would not be a good fit. So if you understand who would not be a good fit, so you can adjust your approach either in the follow-up meetings with them or in other similar jobs or similar industries. So
yeah,
they can tell you, for example, I've been interviews before, like a few years ago, before I started my company, my own business basically was that, for example, they had some things in mind. So like typical characteristics of a candidate that they care a lot, and they were like uh, the their decision-making process was based on those characteristics, and there was no mention of those characteristics in the job description. So they, when you ask that question, they reveal more about their company culture, about the,
Hmm.
characteristics and personality and things like that that they're looking for in a candidate. Maybe you try that next time and
Yeah,
tell
good to
me
know.
if it works or not. So
Yeah.
so
Also,
that.
I'm gonna add some more thing. I realize that employers are often less interested in the exact detail of your specific research or
Exactly.
what you did, and more interested in how you think or work. They
Hmm.
want to understand things like, can you solve problems? Can you
Exactly.
communicate clearly? Can you adapt yourself when things changes?
Hmm.
And can you collaborate efficiently with others? So that's why really it's important to translate what you already have. Like for me, supervising a student can be framed as mentoring and guiding others, or coordinating experiments as a project manager.
Hmm. Hmm. No, it's so true. No, thank you very much. So one thing that I usually recommend PhD candidates, PhD students is that so do not wait until you graduate and start acquiring the right skills and things that you need for your transition from
So true.
academia.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are guilty of that basically because
Yeah, so
we're
true.
we're too busy, doing our research and writing papers or things like that, and we care very less about what happens after graduation. And that's when the real life begins, right? Because when you are in academia, so you are surrounded by like-minded people. Everybody speaks the same language, right? But the world outside is really harsh and somehow scary. And with it's a lot of like chaotic things that are going on in the world right now. So it's becoming harder and harder. And with the AI replacing a lot of jobs, it's going to
Mhm.
get even harder, not easier, right? So that's a time for us to have this like T-shaped uh, skill sets that you are very good at one core thing, but you know a little bit of everything else, right? Now we are in a world that if in order to be successful in life, in careers, in jobs, whatever you call it, to learn different things and combine them in a creative way, right? It's very important. It's no longer that you are a programmer, for example, a computer scientist, for example, and you know how to write codes. Okay, now AI can write the code for you. There is no need
Yeah,
for
of
you
course.
to do that. So what happens, right? So those people who are relying only on one core skill and they're ignoring other skill sets, so they're gonna have a very hard time finding jobs or uh, you know, uh, basically surviving, not to mention thriving, right? So, but thank you very much. So maybe we can just wrap up the conversation. Do you have any final message for PhD candidates, students, postdocs who haven't started acquiring those skill sets to prepare themselves for future careers?
Um, um, I think they can develop some certain skills. For example, communication. I think communication has
Mhm.
been one of the most important skill. I think I developed during my career, and I am trying to do so. Being to explain complex idea to people with different background. That is also really important, especially in your job interview. Also, importance of planning and prioritizing. As a researcher, research involves juggling many tasks at the same time, and knowing where to focus your energy can have a really big difference. So try to do that, and also try to um, adapt easily, work on adaptability skill. Um, because it is also sometimes unexpected challenges happen, and you need that is really a powerful tool for you. And also collaboration. I think nowadays the world is it's a team effort, not a single person work. So collaboration with others are really important, and being supportive and reliable colleague is really, really important, I think.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights and experiences with us and being so generous with your time. I really
Thank you
appreciate it.
so much
And I
for this
love your
talk.
energy, by the way. You're so
Thank you.
you're a fantastic communicator, presenter. You are very open about, talking about your skills, and your communication skills are fantastic. And I wish you all the best. And thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope I was useful for people.
You definitely provided a lot of great insights for our PhD community, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.